Welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Gil Cloud, the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, sitting in for J.B. Haney today, who had to be off. We got a great show today. It's very diverse. We'll have the digital media director for this program, Dennis Burns, on, as well as the principal, Dr. Shelia Riley from Nathan Hale, to talk to us about what athletics means. We'll have 5 other coaches on while we're here. Stay tuned for Inside Tulsa Athletics. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and our first guest today is really one of those that it works behind the scenes and we don't get to see very much, but the head of the digital media department here at Daniel Webster, Dennis Burns. And Dennis, welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Thanks for having me, Gil.
Certainly glad that you're here, and we're glad that we were able to return back to Daniel Webster here to tape this show. It's something that I think is really, really important that we do, and it seems like you really got these kids where they know what to do.
Well, when we started, I guess the first year I was here, we did the show, or you guys were doing the show here. Didn't feel like I was ready for that, and then when you guys came back, we worked on handpicking a crew that could come in, and we taught them their positions, and then they went off and they pretty much run the show.
When they get through with this program, is it like a 2 or 3 year cycle?
Well, since we are considered an elective credit, we get students that for the first time may come in and they may be interested in broadcasting but not quite sure what it is. But those that stick around, they'll take 3 or 4 classes with me, and then some of them have actually decided that this is what they want to do when originally they would go off and do something else.
And this does prepare them to go to the next level?
It does. I mean, I think what we do here is comparable to what happens in a real TV station. May not be the exact equipment or things like that, but what it does do is prepare them for the soft skills of how to work as a team. So even if they don't go into broadcasting, they can still work together as a group. Each one's assigned a specific job, and this show doesn't work unless each student does their job. So
that's really good. I know when I bought Roger Hess over here from Cox Cable 6 or 7 years ago, and he looked at the equipment and looked at the sets and everything. He said, "My gosh, this is as good as what we have out at Cox." Yeah. So it's a great experience for these kids, maybe to move on to the next level. Do you think when you have a person that's been through your program, that they'll be able to handle the cameras and the sound systems and everything?
I think so. I think when they go in, they'll come in as an entry-level employee if they decide to go on and do that, and then they'll learn the specific equipment and things like that that'll help them do that. But yeah, I think if they want to be a camera operator, if they want to learn how to be the technical director that runs the switcher, if audio engineering is what they can do one of 2 things. They can go out with the skills that we've given them, or they can transfer to Tulsa Tech, and then they have their television program, or they can go into TCC or pursue that at a 4-year college if they choose to. But this will give them the baseline. At least they have a resume that they could walk in and say, I have this experience. So
that's
we could
great.
Do that. So.
How did you get in this business?
This is my 25th year teaching with Tulsa Public Schools. It's my 3rd year at high school. So I was 22 years as an elementary teacher. Television and film have always been my background and my, for lack of a better word, hobby and interest. When I go to California on vacations, we hit the lots. And so when this opportunity came up, I jumped on it because this is where I want to finish my career. This is a dream job for me. It's, we've got this great studio to play in, and getting these guys excited. We've upgraded the equipment. We've got new stuff going on in the control room. We're trying to upgrade everything just so it's HD. When I first took over, it was standard definition. Mm-hmm. So, but these guys, we can't afford the big equipment, but we have managed to cobble together, if you will, pieces so that it runs like a fully functioning studio.
How would you like to see this program 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road?
Well, I envision that we would be a fully functioning studio. We are part of the Tulsa Beyonds also. So one of the things I'm pushing for is to have this program especially be a part of that. and take some of those restrictions or maybe some of the guidelines so that we can be more flexible and actually open it up. We're a TV studio where I've inquired about taking over Tulsa Public Schools TPS 20 so we could do some original programming and content, get this show back on TV 20, and continue to do this show. We'll get our daily show up and running, and then hopefully branch out where we can get the community involved and maybe do some stuff for them.
Well, I know your production quality has been really, really good. I know that we're on Cox here in Tulsa and in Oklahoma City, and I always enjoy that because I ask my colleagues over in Oklahoma City what time their show's on. And it's good to have our students and our student athletes, our coaches, and people who work at TPS to be able to have that outreach. So as we look, you said in the future to have these more equipment and everything. Your studio is pretty good. What would you want to do in here?
Well, we want to finish our set. We'd like to get some more sets. We've done some inquiries about some of the local stations or production facilities that might donate some of their sets that they're not using, and just continue to build. Of course, the set we have now for the students that we use, it's not finished yet, but it was a labor of love where my assistant and we worked on it during the summer, and we'll finish it off, and then I've got students to show back up to work on things. And so the goal would be is to just get it to where it's fully functioning, where we have different sets that we can repurpose. The set here, I don't want to give away any trade secrets, but if they've been watching the show, it looks like we're at the athletic offices, but in reality, we're here at Webster High School. Right. So it's all about making it good. But it doesn't happen without the students. I mean, that's what the whole thing is. I mean, I can run this show from behind the scenes, but without these guys doing the job and being vested in it, it's just,
they really do a great job.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for being here today. And we got now coming up next after these messages, Dr. Shelia Riley, the principal at Nathan Hale High School.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy, and every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. And boy, do we have a special guest today. It's not often we get a principal to get out of the school, but we've got Dr. Shelia Riley, who's the principal of Nathan Hale High School. And Dr. Riley, we're sure glad you're here. And we want to talk a little bit about how you feel about the importance of athletics and the role it plays in the total education of students.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Athletics is so important to the students that we serve every day. It keeps kids in school, it keeps them on track, it keeps them moving forward, and gives them opportunities outside of school that they wouldn't have normally. So it means so much to the schools and the students that we serve.
I know that you have been in a rebuilding program at Hale. I can remember the first time we met, actually. We met on the phone one day about a golf tournament, but then you called up and said, I'm tired of getting beat. What can I do to make this different? And, from our perspective at the district office, we appreciate that because it is a difficult task, as we all know in urban education, to have co-curricular activities that go on because they go on after school and before school and weekends and everything. But how do you feel your progress has been so far in turning that program around?
Well, it's moving along, not exactly where we want to be, but it has improved drastically from when I first began. I think the key to building a program in the area of athletics is getting the right coaches on board, getting coaches that are truly interested in helping students as a whole, not just athletics, but also discipline, character, and building those students to where they can have opportunities when they leave school, both academically and athletically. And so we are still in the process of working on getting everyone in place, but we've seen huge improvements in our student athletes that are graduating. We've seen huge gains in the relationships that happen between the adults and the students in the athletic program. So we're you know, as closer that you get to where you want to be, things start moving faster. So we're kind of on that peak right now.
Excellent. I know one of the things that you've made a priority is to have people in your building who are coaching. You know, we have to use a number of adjunct coaches over the years because we've lost staffing, but how important is that to have that coach in your building on a day-to-day basis?
Well, as I just said, relationships are key for those students, and having a coach in the building that can keep an eye on students and build those relationships is absolutely necessary for a successful program. And I'm happy to say that all of our head coaches are in the building 8 hours a day working with kids. They know those kids, they know what those kids need, and that takes such a weight off of the administration to try and get those kids where they need to be. The coaches are doing it because they want those students to be successful. So I think it's absolutely imperative that you have coaches that are in the building working with students.
I do too. I think it's, and it's unique that your athletic director is an English teacher.
I know.
Isn't that great?
Yes,
you know,
and an alumni of Nathan
and
Hale.
an alumni,
so he
you
has
bet.
definite buy-in.
He does a great job.
He does.
John Kime does a great job, and you know, I raised a daughter who was a college softball player who was an English major as well.
Really?
And I always wondered, how in the world did I do that? You know?
I know.
But,
it is a rarity in athletics
It
for
is.
someone to be an English teacher, but I couldn't be more proud of Shane. He's done a fantastic job. And being an alumni of Nathan Hale, obviously, he has the passion and desire to make that program successful, and he's doing a great job.
really cares about the school.
Yes.
We've got about a minute and a half, but your school is going to go through a reimagining of the curriculum and everything. Can you speak briefly about that?
Sure. We've done high school the same way for 150 years. It was really designed for the manufacturing era, industrialization time period, and it's not completely serving the students that we have today. They have so much access to information, and so we really need to build a program that's that helps students that are not going into manufacturing careers as well as those that are. So we are working on creating a plan that will serve all students and get them where they need to be so that they have options and choices past high school.
That's really good, I think, so that kids do have some options, because you are right. You know, I've been in this business 49 years, and what you find out is that you just rename some things. You're doing the same things again, and to be able to be innovative enough to move on to the next level to help our students. And because we're in a electronic age now where things travel almost immediately, information and so on, so it's really important. Well, we're really glad you're here today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, and good luck. I think this year is going to be really fantastic, and one of the things that we want to do is we want to welcome you back anytime that you can come.
Thank you.
And we want you to stay tuned, because we've got Juan Yu, who is the coach of the girls basketball team at Edison High School.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff. Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we have the head girls basketball coach at Edison High School, Juan Yu. And Juan, bring us up to date on your season right now. You have a pretty good season going.
So far, so good. We are 11-5. We just finished competing in the Port City Classic in Tulsa, where we took 3rd place. We played Claremore the first round. We was able to get that win. Second round, we lost against Victory Christian. They ended up winning the tournament. Then in the 3rd place game, we beat Woodward.
All right. Well, who played well for you in the tournament?
I think a majority of all the girls played well, but the main highlight player was Mariah Smith and Haley Mitchell.
I see.
Mariah Smith is my point guard. She does a very good job of running the offense. And Haley Mitchell is one of our athletic bigs.
I see. You got to have an athletic big, don't you?
Exactly, exactly.
And Mariah is a good point shooting guard for you?
Yes, yes. She's doing a good job of, building team chemistry within the offense. In the beginning of the season, when you got 5 players who can all put the ball in the basket and there's only one ball, it's kind of tough for people to get their feeling out there. But she's doing a good job of making sure everybody touch the ball so they can feel part of something out there.
Building that team cohesion that is important with, like you say, when you have those that have been the shooter and now they got to give it up. I think that's important as you get down this last 4 weeks. And I've asked all the coaches, all the basketball coaches, what do you want to achieve in the last 4 weeks of the season before you get to the playoffs?
Well, I would like to see us winning first. And when you're winning, you're having fun. And then the team chemistry is building. We're gelling. And we're on the upswing. And that's what I look for closer to the playoff. We want to make sure our team's on the upswing.
So as we look at the OSSA playoffs, right now, I think the latest one was last week, and you were ranked 12th in the OSSA.
Yes.
What do you think your pairing will be? Will you be at home? Will you be on the road? Where do you think you'll be?
Well, 5A is pretty tough, especially in the East. I think we might have to be on the road first round because, you have Rogers. They probably get a #1 seed. You have Tahlequah, Pryor, Coweta, East Central. Oh, yeah. So those are the teams we're competing with to get a #1 seed. So all depends. We play East Central tomorrow. Hopefully we can get that win, and that'll kind of help us out to see if we move up in the playoffs.
That could move you up. It would be a good one. So do you have a young team, an old team?
My starting 5 are all underclassmen, no seniors. So they're all returning next year. So this is a good year for them to see what winning is about. And if we can't get it done this year, we definitely will have our eyes on the prize next year.
Absolutely. And you have a winning record right now.
Yes.
Yeah. What is your record?
11-5.
That's what I thought, 11-5. And so and playing the Green Country Conference, which is a pretty difficult conference to play in, and you played in some good tournaments. So hopefully you've prepared your young players, for this stretch at the end of the year and going into the region. If you don't play at home, where do you think you might have to go?
Probably Tahlequah or Pryor.
I see.
But it would be nice to stay here and play at Rogers.
It would be, yeah. It would be nice to stay at home, you bet. And you're right, Rogers has turned that program. They're in pretty good shape right now.
Yes.
They really are. Summer League, how do you approach Summer League with your girls?
We have summer camp, summer workouts where the girls will come in, work out, and the girls who show up, they're the one who participate in the Summer League. But right now, we're just trying to focus on the season and trying to do well in the playoffs. Then after that, then I'll have about 2 weeks to relax a little bit. Then I'll meet with the girls and kind of let them know what's expected for the summer.
Last thing I want to ask you about is, we have new rules this summer about dead period. How do you feel about that, and how are you going to work with that?
I'm okay with it because I usually take off around that time anyway. So I usually take the month of July off. We go strong on the month of June, playing Summer League, playing camps, do workouts. Then the month of July is the time for me to kind of relax a little bit.
I think it's good too sometimes to have those student athletes a period of time where they're not out there all the time. I've heard people that have talked about athletic injuries And it said
Absolutely.
because the body is so stressed because it never gets time to rest and rebuild that muscle tissue and everything.
Interesting that you bring that up, because that's the main thing I have discussed with some of our players who play AAU. I kind of advise them, take about a month off, let your body
Absolutely.
heal, so you won't have to deal with those nagging injuries when the season starts.
I agree with you. I think that we put far too much emphasis on year-round athletics. And if we had periods of time where those kids could take off, Arkansas is going to go to 3 weeks in the summer this next year.
Okay.
Kansas goes, as soon as the season's over, there's a week dead period each of the 3 seasons where there's no activity. So you don't go to basketball after fall. You wait for a week and then you go to basketball. So,
okay.
I mean, it's kind of mandatory. I don't know if that's good, but I think it's something we need to think about. As we return, we'll be back in just a few minutes with Conley Phipps, the head basketball coach at Booker T. Washington. Thank you for being with us.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff. Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have the head boys basketball coach from Booker T. Washington, Conley Phipps. And Conley, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Coach. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Tell us a little bit about the Union Jinx tournament.
Well, great competition. We played East Central in the first round, so we renewed a Green Country rivalry and had a good game with them and beat a good Putnam City North team in the semifinals. And then played Edmond Santa Fe, who's one of probably the best 2 or 3, 4 teams in the state of Oklahoma in Class 6A. And they got the better of us, but I think we've got a lot of things we can take from that game, and that'll help us down the road when the playoffs start.
It's always good to play up, and you're playing invitational tournaments where it means something, but it doesn't mean everything. And
Right.
you can look and see what you need to do down the road.
Right, no, and that's exactly the way we looked at it. It's a big-time game. It's a state tournament caliber game in January. And so it gives you an opportunity to see where you're at, and certainly, what you're doing well and what you need to get better at for a run at the Gold Ball.
We've been now about 7 months in the Frontier Conference. How do you feel that adjustment has been made by the boys basketball program?
Well, I think we've made a good adjustment. With us moving up to 6A and with the ADM probably for the foreseeable future being in 6A, it just made sense to play in a 6A league. And obviously when you're playing the biggest schools in Oklahoma every night, Jinx, Union, Owasso, Broken Arrow, you get tested every night. But I think our guys have adjusted well, and I think it's been good for our program.
Should be exciting for the student athletes and the fans to have packed gyms everywhere you go, and know you're going to play a top level competition with good players.
For sure, yeah, and like I said, it's the competition is beneficial down the road, especially when we get in the playoffs and the student sections and those things on the road, and so it's been a real positive.
Well, we got the BOK Showcase showing up on Saturday. How do you feel about that matchup with Sand Springs?
Well, Sand Springs, once again, we've got another top 5 or 6 team in the state of Oklahoma, and the showcase is really a neat deal. I was excited when Coach Wilson called and wants to get back in. Our guys enjoyed it last year playing that arena, something not everybody gets to do. And so we're looking forward to the challenge. Coach Savage, great coach. He's got a heck of a team this year, so it should be fun.
I think it's a great experience for the kids to be able to play in a venue that's really an NBA venue.
Oh,
And,
there's no doubt. I mean, there's not a lot of high school kids that get to do that. And, I make sure that my kids understand how fortunate they are. And it's neat. It's neat for everybody. So I think it's neat for the fans to watch them. It's neat for us to go in there and coach. And, you get dressed in the locker rooms. And it's just a big time environment, big time event.
Good for our kids as they grow, and especially the kids that are going to play at the next level to be in that type of environment. Talk a little bit about your team, your players.
Well, probably need to start with Bryce Thompson. Probably the most highly recruited high school basketball player in Oklahoma. Has several Division I offers, having a great year. We've got Seth Hurd in the middle, 6'6" senior, who's just playing fantastic. We have Trey Phipps, another junior guard. It's a good player for us. Jalen Breath, 6'8" kid that's a junior, that's getting better and better every game. Really happy with him. And then we've got a couple of seniors that play a lot of minutes. Mike McHenry, very good three-point shooter. We have Kriston Driver, senior. He's an energy guy, defender, ball mover. And then we've got a couple of young guys, that come in and help us. Cam Parker, who's a freshman, who gets some minutes on the varsity and does a good job for us. So we've got a good mix of experience and youth, and so far it's been working for us.
Still looks pretty good for next year too then, huh?
Yeah, we've got, 3 starters coming back and some young guys that I'm excited about.
What do, we got about a month to go, before we get to the playoff time. What does a coach want to achieve in that last 4 weeks before they go to the regional?
Well, I think what you want to see is your guys peaking and getting better at those things that you haven't been doing well, the first 25 games. And playing that game Saturday night, Edmond, Santa Fe exposed some of our weaknesses that other people hasn't been able to do. And so we're off Tuesday night, so we've got this week to work on some things we need to work on. So hopefully we'll get those fixed and play well when it's important to play well.
That'll be good. If you don't have anybody injured, but so you're off until Saturday night?
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, good luck. I hope, you're playing Sand Springs. That's one of our conference schools, so hope we can win that one. And we'll be right back after these messages when we'll have with us Michael Parish, the head boys basketball coach at Edison High School.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts. Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have the head boys basketball coach at Thomas Edison High School, Michael Parish. And Michael, you had a tournament this weekend over at Catoosa. Tell me about that.
Well, we made the Catoosa final. Didn't play as well as we'd like to in the final, but very proud of the boys. We had 2 good days, good basketball Thursday and Friday, and then ran into a really good Owasso team. They've got a couple of outstanding guards, and guard play was kind of the key to the ball game. We didn't shoot the ball well, had a bad night to have a poor shooting night. But hats off to Owasso. They've got a really good team, and very proud of our young men for the way they played and the way they carried themselves this weekend.
Well, playing up in the class too. They're a 6A team playing a tough
Played
league.
2 6A schools. We beat Bixby in the first round and then played Owasso. And Owasso's ranked in top 20, top 15 in 6A. And got 2 predominantly good guards in Seth Pomeroy and Hayden Peterson, and both are college prospects and seniors, and just overall really experienced guard play. So our young men learned a lot this weekend. I think it'll set us up for some playoff experience.
Good. And as we get into this last 4 weeks, this is the time where you want to see that playoff experience and
absolutely,
improvement.
and seedings are getting ready to go in, and we feel really good about our overall year and where we've positioned ourselves coming down for the playoffs. So hopefully we will be able to have a home regional, which will give us a good chance to advance in the playoffs and give us a good chance to make state tournament.
So you think that could happen?
Absolutely, yeah. We're right there. We got to finish out with a good week this week, and hopefully the votes will come our way.
That's great. As we move into the weekend, of course, it's a big weekend. The BOK is always
Absolutely,
something
yes,
that's exciting for our student athletes and the teams and the fans and everybody to play in a venue like the BOK, which is really an NBA quality facility. Let's talk a little bit about the BOK, what it means to Thomas Edison High School and you and your players.
Well, not just Thomas Edison. I think overall for all the high school teams and players to get an opportunity to play in the venue, we've been fortunate enough to get to play in it before, and it's just a spectacular place to come and watch a game and play. And these kids, I think it's a memory they'll have for a lifetime. We have always had to play really good teams when we've been there. My record's not the best at the BOK Showcase, but definitely love the opportunity to play there and get to play some of these good teams and just be a part of it in general.
Of course, you got your Southside rival in this one, don't you?
Yes, they form quite a bit of a challenge for us. They've got 3 6'8" players, and I think our tallest player is about 6'4", so we've got our work cut out for us. But look forward to the opportunity. Memorial is a great program. They've got a great group of kids, and give us the opportunity to kind of see where we are when you look at the overall landscape of the teams in Class 5A.
As you prepare through this year and look into the future, you have a lot of student athletes coming back next year?
Yes, sir. We only graduate 2 seniors that are starters. We have one that comes off the bench as well, but predominantly play a bunch of juniors, and so I think our future looks bright. We've got a good freshman class, got a good 8th grade group going to come in, and so basketball at Edison High School looks good for the future.
That's excellent. You have other things that you do. You coach golf. Tell
Golf?
us a little bit about golf.
Well, golf has been a labor of love. It's nice to get outside the gym in the spring and be in the warm weather. The kids are great. We've been really lucky to have some really good golfers, golfing families that get out and play, teach their kids the love of the game. And so it's been a pleasure to meet some of those families and those kids and watch them grow up. And our golf program's been really successful. We've had a player make state tournament every year. We've finished as high as 3rd. We've had 2 state runner-ups. One with actually both of them were 1 shot away from being state champions. So very proud of our golf program as well.
Fantastic. So as you go into the golf season and then you get into summer, talk a little bit about Summer League basketball and how that affects high school basketball.
Well, Summer League, is predominantly in June. A lot of the kids play AAU, which starts in April, and they play April, May, and then again in July, maybe a little early August. So there's not a lot of time for these kids to have off. And for us coaches, it moves straight into off-season, trying to get these kids on some good AAU teams and preparing your schedule for the summer, what you're going to do as far as Summer League and team camps. And about really all we have off is about 2 weeks at the end of July before school starts back up. So,
what do you think about, we got about a minute to go, what do you think about the dead period, which goes into effect this summer?
Actually, I think it's good for the school systems. For us in basketball, it gives us an opportunity to have our floors redone and facilities improved a little bit. And the kids, they need a little time off. When I was young, we used to take family vacations in the summer, and I think it's good for these kids to get an opportunity to get away and not feel like they have to be in the gym all the time.
I agree, and I think as we get into it, it'll be more acceptable. Right now, it's pretty difficult. Mm-hmm. Everybody is thinking all the things that why we shouldn't have this off, and now our neighbors over here on the east, they're going to 3 weeks off. Arkansas is going to 3 weeks in the summer. So anyhow, we'll see how that turns out. But we'll have you right back here with Bobby Allison, the head basketball coach at Memorial High School, and after these messages.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy, and every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we have the head basketball coach at Memorial High School, Bobby Allison. Bobby, thanks for coming today and sharing some time with us. Let's talk about your season. Where do you feel you are right now, and how do you look for this next 4 weeks as you go through the end of the season?
Glad to be here, Gil. It's a great time of year. We've 17 games into our season. We're 14-3 right now. Had a great schedule so far, really challenging schedule early in the year. Had a good break. Then had 3 games a week ago. Got everything we needed out of those 3 games. We're in a really good spot right now. Being 14-3, ranked number 1 in 5A. We control our destiny as far as getting the 1 seed in the East and hosting a home regional. And then we're just trying to take it, really day by day and game by game, where we can just improve and look to have playoff habits this time of year, not just regular season habits, but a little more intensity, a little more focus in all aspects of our game and our daily preparation. So if we can just kind of ratchet it up another level or two with these next 5 games, we're in as good a position as you could ask for. And with the next 5 games we have, it's really going to be a challenge, but it's going to be perfect to lead us up to the playoffs.
So how does the BOK Showcase with your Southside rival, how does that fit into your plan?
That couldn't be a better game, couldn't be a better venue, and Edison's had an outstanding part to their season. I voted them 2 in 5A this week. I voted Del City 1 and Edison 2. And so I think Edison's got a strong chance to get a home regional as well. I mean, I really do. They got double-figure wins now. I think they're 12-13-5, something like that. And they've got some great 6A wins. They beat 1 at Bishop Kelly. They were in the finals of that Catoosa tournament. So playing Edison on a neutral site on a Saturday, it's like an area championship or semifinal state game, and it's going to be really, really fun. Couldn't be, like you said, a better venue. Couldn't be a better opponent, and getting them also at their place on the 12th, along with at East Central, will be great road test for us. So I like the way the schedule's lined out, and I like that Edison's playing really good basketball right now, and I like that we're ready for the challenge on Saturday.
How does that, do you change your preparation when you go into a big venue like that as opposed to a high school gymnasium?
We've been fortunate enough to play in a handful of venues similar over the last 2 years, this group. They played in the BOK last year. They played at the Mabee Center. They've played at some venues out of state. And we've played some really good team camps at the University of Arkansas and University of Oklahoma. But it is different. It is different. What you do is you kind of just got to have a road mindset where, big court, but they're playing on the same court you know, the backdrop's a little different. You really look to attack the basket a little more early. You can't just settle for jump shots because you got to have a mindset of we're going to be attacking. If you're on your heels in a neutral environment or on the road, I think your shooting percentage automatically goes down. So I know they're going to get up some shots, but as long as it's attacking in the way they're doing it, I always think that you're more likely to have a better shooting percentage, because that's really the biggest detriment at different venues is you're not going to shoot as good. Defensively, offensively, everything else kind of works itself out. And it'll help. I mean, it also depends on how good is our shoot around going to be that morning, and how well are we going to warm up, and how focused are you? Are you going to be staring around with the big eyes in the arena, or are you going to just focus on your teammates and the opponents? So a lot of it's the uncontrollables. But
when you look at those backboards sitting out in the middle of nowhere,
I know.
which is so much different than what they see at the normal high school gymnasium. Well, you know, you've had to manage a pretty difficult thing. It's what a high school coach wants to have to manage, but when you have high-profile student athletes, how does that change your job or the way you go about a day-to-day operation when you know that you're going to have those people coming, talking with you and your kids?
Right. Well, it's definitely a different challenge. I'm never going to complain about it because they're talented players, and talented players help you win games. But the challenge is, especially right now with all team sports, is to really get kids to focus on the team. We've had such a blessed program and so many good seniors before our talented class this year and our talented juniors that they've showed the way to sacrifice individual things for team success, and then it comes back around to individual accolades and scholarships, and things will be there. But if you focus on the team and you get lost in the team, in daily things, from practice habits to, just being friends, just camaraderie, it's amazing what you can accomplish as a unit, as a team. And that's why team sports, football and basketball and baseball are so important, because the lessons they get from it. And it's fun for me as a coach to see people give a little bit up to gain a lot in return. And it's a challenge, but it's one that we really relish as coaches. I know not just me, but all coaches. That's something we love.
It's important, I think, for the student body to have success in your athletic program. Maybe they feel better about coming to school every day.
No doubt.
And how they feel, and so on. We had Dr. Riley on, who's the principal at Tulsa Hale, and she talked this morning about how important it was to the overall school aspect to have a good athletic program. And I think when you have high-profile student athletes like that, that certainly enhances Memorial basketball.
No, definitely, and especially if their character's in the right, if they're not afraid to smile, if they're positive, if they're optimistic, if every day is a blessing instead of, a negative aspect. They definitely get to shine a light on the special things that Tulsa Public School athletes can do and have. And you're right, Gil, and winning leads to that, and through all different sports in the school.
We talk about that all the time.
Definitely.
Stay with us after these messages when we have Jen Sanders, the Assistant Athletic Director for Activities.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. And we have a guest today who has been on our staff now for over 3 years, has a big job, Assistant Director of Athletics for Activities, Jen Sanders. Jen, tell us about some of the things we've got coming up in your area.
Well, one of the biggest things we have coming up is our School Pride Race, which starts on, the registration's open now online. You can go to Run Sign Up, and it's Tulsa School Pride Race. This is the 18th year for this family fun event. We start out with a 5K bike ride at 8 a.m. on March 2nd, followed up by an 8:30 5K run. And then, of course, our 1 mile family fun run is around 8:45. Not only is this event a 5K, we also have a health and wellness festival on the green at Guthrie Green. So it's a great opportunity for our families and friends to get out and showcase their running skills, and then also visit the Health and Wellness Festival, maybe find out some different health and wellness venues that are happening here in Tulsa.
How many entries do we have?
Well, last year we had around 800 entries. You know, it always depends on the weather, so we always have our fingers crossed on March 2nd that the weather's, you know, really great. The last 3 years, knock on wood, has been beautiful. It's been about 40 degrees in the morning, and you know, by the time we're finishing at 52, which is great running weather. So it's really a lot of fun. We start right there at Guthrie Green, and we go up around by OSU, and then come back downhill to the finish line. So the kids have a great time. You know, our bike club kiddos participate. We have about usually 2 or 3 of our bike clubs come and show up for the 5K bike ride, along with many family members as well. We're hoping to incorporate this machine, which is the bikes that you can rent downtown this year. Those folks are going to be there hopefully, and we can rent out some of those bikes to maybe just a few family members that maybe didn't intend on racing that day but want to, you know, go for a ride.
Excellent. Well, mention again how we sign up to be in this race.
So there's a couple of different ways for your kids that are at schools. The schools will sign those kids up through paper registrations, and they'll come to our office. For anybody that's out in the public that wants to sign up, you can go to runsignup.com and search for the Tulsa School Pride Race, and it pops right up. You can pay for everything online and then register that way. We do have a deadline, which is the last week in February, and then after that week, then you will have to sign up at the race, which many people do that as well. So you can sign up on race day, online, or through your school.
Of course, it's better for us if we know in advance
True.
how many people we're
True.
going
It's
to
easy
have.
to figure out that T-shirt stuff.
Then in March, you've got another really big event that the kids, I know, I've been to 2 or 3 of them, and they really get excited about Gym Estrada.
Gym Estrada is really a unique event here in Tulsa. You know, not many schools have gymnastics equipment, but what we do is we rotate our gymnastics equipment around to the schools, and by doing so, we're able to have kiddos participate in an event called Gym Estrada. And we have the vault, we have floor exercise for boys and girls, we have the bar exercises, we have the balance beam, you know, all of the things that you would see at a gymnastics event are at our event. So these kids are training right now. You can go over to Sauk Elementary or Council Oak, and you'll see those kids training right now for this Gym Estrada event. So it's a really great opportunity for kids to participate in something that's maybe not like all of the other sports that they see every day, you know, basketball, softball, baseball. So they're able to participate in this Gym Estrada, and many of our kids have gone on to, they've noticed that they were pretty good, so they go on to a gym here in Tulsa. You know, Aim High Academy has quite a few of our kids. So it's a great event and a lot of fun for the parents.
Sure is, and I think the numbers in that has gone up every year too, and I think that's encouraging for us. Tell us a little bit about Bike Club. It just seems like Bike Club continues to grow and grow every year.
Yeah, well, in Bike Club, we right now are finishing up our bike physical education curriculum. So it is going to be incorporated in 10 elementary schools next year. They're going to do bike PE, which teaches not only kiddos how to ride bikes, we're going to target 3rd graders, but it also teaches kids about bike and pedestrian safety. And you know, it seems like at the beginning of the school year, every year we hear of 1 or 2 kids that may have been injured by a car accident, pedestrian car accident, and we really want our kids to know about crossing the streets safely, safe routes to schools, and our bike PE program not only teaches, you know, all the mechanics of biking and not only the, you know, cycling aspect, but also that pedestrian safety and bike safety so that they know how to ride on the road and they know the rules of the road.
How many schools do we have the Bike Club in right now?
Currently we have 18 schools and 3 middle schools, so 21 schools, and it's really just a great program. You know, our middle school programs, they're going to have this big event at the end of the year called the Little 100, which actually started in the early 90s through Adam Vandenberg. Tulsa used to have the Little 100. And so we're going to do that again this year here at Webster High School.
That'll be neat.
Yeah.
And the goal that we've established, you know, through our superintendent making sure that we wanted to have a goal at the end of this is what?
Is that every kid in Tulsa Public Schools will have learned how to ride a bike.
I think that's a great opportunity because not every one of our kids will have the opportunity to have a bike. and yet this provides that opportunity. You might say just quickly, we got 30 seconds, about how we obtain those bicycles.
So we work through Jason Horton through Humble and Sons, and he has supported bike clubs throughout Tulsa, and they have supplied many of our bike club bikes every year. They also give away kids' bikes to those kids that have completed bike clubs. So that's one of the ways that we've done that. And there are various organizations that have donated to Humble and Sons to make that possible here in Tulsa.
And those bikes stay at the school?
They do.
And year after year they go in the program.
Yep.
Well, that's fantastic. I tell you, you got a lot of things to do. But coming up next, we've got Mick Wilson, who is the Assistant Athletic Director, to talk about the greatest one-day event in Oklahoma basketball.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy, and every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we have a special guest today, the Assistant Athletic Director for Compliance, and he's also our liaison to the BOK Showcase, which happens this weekend. And Mick, looks like an exciting weekend.
It's going to be a great weekend, and I tell you, Gil, you got started off wrong, though, when you said that you have a special guest. You get to see me every day, so I don't know how special I am, but no, we're excited about the BOK High School Hoop Showcase. It's going to be another great year, and of course, like so many previous years, you know, we try to put together the best teams with some of the best talent, and really with some of the best marquee players, and this year will be no exception, but we're excited about it.
Well, tell us a little bit about the history of the BOK Showcase, how it started, and then it lapsed for a year or two, and then we're back in business again.
Well, you know, you and I got to be in on the groundbreaking part of that, and that was in a small room visiting with the SMG guys who, Jeff Nickler, who's now departed us and gone off to California to bigger and better things, but him and Michael Owens, who now runs Chesapeake Energy Arena, and Evan Fallett, who's still there with us, and then of course Joe came a little later, Joe Giordano. But we really were on the groundbreaking part of this, and it was exciting to see something that we started in a small room talking about as an idea really come to fruition into something so big and so great for kids, because the kids really enjoy playing in that, and it's really grown ever since then. We did have a couple of years there where we missed, and that was due to concerts and some things like that, but for the most part, every year that we've been able to have it, it's just been fantastic.
Well, the concert situation was an issue, but you know, when we start talking about this kind of thing, the BOK folks wanted something to involve the community in, and to get people who don't normally come to BOK, and the high school crowd, you know, doesn't go there to see basketball. They go there to see other things. And so with the matchups that we have, though, and we might talk a little bit about some of the matchups, or all of them, and then how the BOK does reimburse the schools.
Yes, they really make a commitment, not only to commit the facilities, but make a financial contribution to each school for participating in the event. But I tell you what, it's just another part of their community outreach. You know, their Rock and Rib Fest and some of those things, the ice skating and the things that they help host in downtown and bring folks in. It's really been great, and that's part of also when we look at the matchups. We've really tried to get a good cross section of teams, not only in the Tulsa metro area but throughout Northeast Oklahoma. You know, over the years we've had the Hilldales and some people on the outliers of Tulsa County and Rogers County to be able to come in and participate, and it's been a good event for kids. You know, we've had the Coetas and the Skytooks and people like that in the past, and believe it or not, out of the years we've been doing this is the first year we're going to get to have Bartlesville, both boys and girls, in the BOK High School Hoop Showcase. So we're going to be able to get some new teams. We've reached out to some smaller schools here within the area this year with Regent Prep and some schools like that. So we're going to be able to get a good cross-section of people to come in and take a look at some really good basketball.
Well, it sure is a good day of basketball. For the pure basketball fan to be able to see 8 match games that are the quality with the student athletes that we have. But also I think it's a tremendous experience for the student athletes.
It is. The kids really enjoy playing in a world-class venue. How many kids are going to get that opportunity during their high school career? Obviously, some of them get a taste of the big house in Oklahoma City, or some of them get some of the Maybe Center at the 5A and 6A state tournament. But even those venues, as good as they are for basketball, don't really compare to what the BOK can offer once you're inside and you're really in a world-class venue with all their high winning awards and all their notoriety. It really is a true treat for a kid to get to go in and play a basketball game in the BOK Center.
And they run it in a first-class position. I mean, everything is there. The music, the message center, the scoreboard, everything is there. I can always remember a young lady from Booker T telling me that her senior year couldn't be any better because she played in the Tournament of Champions, she played in the BOK Showcase, and she played the state tournament. And that's the top three in 1 year, which is a great thing. Let's go through the matchups and let's see who's playing.
Well, the breakfast game that no one ever wants, but they're excited. They take it because they're excited to be a part of it. You got Oologah girls, and which are really playing well right now. Probably one of the hottest teams in the metro area. The Oologah girls are playing Hilldale girls. And then in that second game, we've got two ranked teams, Metro Christian boys against the Regent Prep boys. Following a lunch game there at noon with East Central girls and Bishop Kelly. That'll be an exciting matchup and should be a really competitive game. Followed by the Owasso boys and Bartlesville boys. And I'm excited to see that game. I think that'll be well attended. At 3 o'clock, we have the Union girls, which we were just talking about off air, and the Broken Arrow girls. Then at 4:30, we'll have the Memorial boys against the Edison boys, which is always a great matchup, and two coaches that have gone at it for a long time, and Bobby Allison and Michael Parish. At 6 o'clock, we'll have the Booker T. Washington girls against Bartlesville girls, and that's, again, two really good teams right now playing really well that will make a nice matchup. And then the late game of the night will be the Booker T. Washington Hornet boys against the Sand Spring boys, and Coach Savage, who used to be one of our guys, is now on the outside. But Coach Savage always has a tough time with Booker T. I think he relishes that part of it, and he's excited about that matchup.
Oh, I mean, and those are some really, really good Frontier Conference and smaller conference matchups throughout the day. I think it's important to note that these are all home games that these schools have given up to be able to come and play. It's a match game on their schedule, so if Booker T is playing Sand Springs, that would normally be either Booker T or Sand Springs, but because of the guarantee the schools get, it makes them worthwhile to be able to move it and have that experience for their kids. So
I think it shows the commitment, Gil. I think what you see with some of these people that are excited to give their kids a chance, but then on the backside, it shows the commitment of FMG and BOK to be able to bring these people in and compensate them for giving up that home game.
Be a part of the community and highlight our high school student athletes. I think that's great. Well, it's going to be broadcast all day long on the Animal. They've told us it's the greatest one-day basketball event in the state of Oklahoma, and we're just proud that Tulsa Public Schools and the work that you've done with that, we can be involved in it. So be sure this weekend, BOK Center started at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll be right back after these words.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Well, that's been our show today. I think you've seen a lot about Tulsa Public School athletics, from the principal's office to the digital media office and all of the coaches. We certainly hope that you support Tulsa Public School athletics and that you'll be around the arenas as we play the rest of this 4-week season. See you at the BOK on Saturday. Everybody, let's support high school athletics, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.